All right, gang, in 3, 2, 1, it is showtime. Hey, Tony here from the Portsmouth Aero Shipbuilding Company, and I want to welcome everybody to the live show, the live sketch party that we're doing tonight. Now, this is somewhat of a surprise. We had to shift some gears here. Those of you that have been following me, I'm almost certain that you have seen the promos that I've been doing for this live show. But if you do recall, the live show was originally going to be on registration only and on Zoom. Now, those of you that are in kind of like the South Carolina, North Carolina, maybe even part of Virginia area, a big storm came through late afternoon, and it knocked out internet connection for everybody in this area for the entire evening, even right now as we speak. So I said all that to say that I was originally going to host this show on Zoom with a small group that registered. I messaged that group. I hope you guys are here. I hope you got the message, because I wasn't even able to get online to even cancel or transition in Eventbrite. But I do have a connection through my phone that I can do my old-fashioned live Facebook Live video here. So that's what we're going to do. So those of you that, I guess we're just going to have to go with a wider audience, reaching the entire world, as well as those that registered for that small group. So I said all that to say that I am welcoming everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're going to do my live sketch party tonight. And pretty much what I want you to do is just to sit back, relax, and just kind of guide me as I draw. Now, one of the things that I asked the group before they registered is which type of sketch or drawing should I go with tonight. I might have time to do both, but I asked the folks, should I do a ship? Do you want me to do a ship, or do you want me to do a person? And the feedback that I got back was to at least start off with a ship. So that's what I'm going to do tonight, is to start off with a ship. Usually, guys, I would try to have a little music in the background, but I guess we have gone so high tech with everything that even the choice music that I want to listen to is not even accessible on the traditional radio. It is via Spotify. And I can't even access that right now tonight as we speak. So at least the good thing is that I've got an old-fashioned connection. I call it old-fashioned, but just a connection. Don't have Wi-Fi, but I got the connection through my phone with the just the data usage. So hopefully you guys are able to see this. In fact, as you're coming on, just give me some thumbs up. Show me some love. Just let me know that you are here. And what I'm going to do for starters tonight is kind of do one of my, you know what I've been liking to do too? Not only just with the regular ships, but I like the old fishing boats and tugs that have the gravitational displacement technology in them as well, making them look like old junkers that have that ability to still have that flight. And so that's what this is going to be. So this one is going to be facing us. And what I've been doing before is kind of just making it, or at least having in mind, that it's just a old fishing boat, but still also having in mind that part of the nature of this old fishing boat is that it can fly and float in the stratosphere thanks to good old-fashioned gravitational displacement technology. And so aeroships with their gravitational displacement engine have a pretty large hull. And that's where all of the workings, it kind of lives there. Let's go ahead and start giving this some shape and some volume. Taking it from looking just 2D to having some 3D volume to it. Making it fat. Now, actually, the shape of these ships here, and you can see that they're kind of oddly shaped. They're kind of fat at the bottom, small in the back. Somebody even asked me online one time that they said that this design style is kind of unique and odd, and where did I get it from? I actually adopted that from nature. And there's a fish called a lionfish that probably you probably recognize it if you see it, if you don't recognize it by name. But the shape of that fish I found kind of fascinating, and so I used that as almost like the model for especially these smaller boats. So our model is nature, in the way that these ships are able to or rather the fish are able to float in the sea. These aeroships are able to float in the stratosphere. Hey guys, glad that you're able to come on in and join us. Have a seat, grab a snack, grab something to wash it down. And thanks for hanging out with me tonight for the live sketch party. Those of you that are just coming in, you might have missed my original announcement, but tonight's show was actually going to be on Zoom by registration only, but we had a big storm that came through our area and knocked out all of the internet for everybody in this area, even as we speak. Still haven't known. It's been a few hours now, but I have been able to just grab my phone and beam in a Facebook Live video instead of all the little fancy connections that I was doing through Eventbrite, and kind of had it embedded where it was going to be via Zoom. Had 2 cameras. But you know what? I think God just wanted to open it up to the entire, not nation, but world. So here you are. Welcome, y'all. So this is the part where we're going to, especially when we look at the deck and the top portion of our aeroship. In this case, especially kind of a small tug kind of boat. We'll want to really just even forget that it is something that's floating in the air, and just have in mind like an old fishing boat that you see floating on the river, like we see in the Portsmouth area, something just floating on the Elizabeth River. But in this case, because of gravitational displacement technology and that engine in there, it floats in the stratosphere. We're going to shade that a little bit just to give it some more volume so that it's not transparent. Here we go. All right. Who else is here with us tonight? All right, so we're giving it some shape, giving it some volume. I think I'm going to take that deck down in the back a little bit. In a minute, after I work on this some more, I'm going to introduce you to some of my tools, especially the creatives, the artists that we have on the show tonight. Definitely want to introduce you to my preferred tools. Let's go ahead and start putting some antennas and masts on our boat. Now, part of what I love about this style that I work with, now it's, for those that are familiar with the genre, it's called diesel punk. But just to make it even more simplistic for you, it's retro futuristic. So my challenge is to take something and make it look like it's from the past but can function in the future. And I like to say that I like to start with the familiar to the fantastic. So the familiar is a boat. In fact, this looks like just a regular boat that you may see, a little old fishing boat. But then the fantastic is that sucker can fly and float through the air. So again, the challenge is to take something that is familiar, draw you in. It's like, oh, that's a boat. I've seen one of those before. But then to put that twist on it with the fantastic. Hey, that boat is floating in the air. So that is the driver for this series that I've been working on. Going into September, will make 8 years with the Portsmouth Aeroship Building Company concept. And honestly, y'all, I feel we've only just begun it. Hey, I'm seeing the thumbs up come on through. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Show me some love. Let me know that you're picking up what I'm putting down. And those of you that signed up originally for the, whoa, easel's kind of moving a little bit. The version of this that we were going to do on Zoom, I hope that y'all are here. I think that is Lisa and a few other folks. Thank y'all for hanging with me. All right, now we're going to line off the boat just a little bit more to not only give it some more volume, but also actually add to its metallic style. And we're going to put some fins here in a minute too. That's going to also help it to fly and navigate within the stratosphere. All right. Got that going the way I want it to go. Bring it out just a little bit. Okay, now what I have been doing with my aeroships, I'm finally starting to get some consistency, at least to the engineering of these vessels. So what I mean by that is I have started adopting to at least have some common features that you'll see within these flying ships. So one of those, what I'm getting at, what I mean by that is you've seen rudders on some of these that you've seen me do before. That is a given. That's nothing new about that. Got one of them here. Usually you've seen them at the bottom. One, maybe two. There's another one here. I'm going to shade those in a minute. And I've been bouncing around back and forth with these. They almost look like shields, but they are also flaps or rudders almost to kind of help the aeroship navigate through the stratosphere. And so I'm starting to make a constant in the engineering style of these. Have one on each side that's right in this position here. I might even make that a little bit larger. We'll put a corresponding one kind of right down here. Let's see how we can make that look. Let's make it a little long so that it does stand out. We don't want to hide it. We want people to see that this is something that's unique, and it almost looks like it's obvious that it's something that helps these things fly in the air. Again, the goal is to take you from the familiar, which you kind of see from here. Hey, that just looks like a regular fishing boat. We've seen that, been there, done that. But then the fantastic, like, hey, what's these things that's making this thing fly? Hey, gang, feel free to post any questions, any comments. Now, since my internet's down, I'm not able to see your question or comment through my desktop, which is a bigger screen. But I am at least peeping through my cell phone, which is also my camera for the night. And so I should be able to see your question or comment as you post it. If not, if I happen to miss it on the live, I'll definitely address it on the replay. But I said all that to say that feel free, chime in. Love for this to be a dialogue and not a monologue. Let's shorten that a little bit, just a little bit, not too much. What do you think so far, y'all? Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think. Let's put a little curvature to these things. Let's kind of line them off and give them some curvature where they flow along the hull of these ships, that they're a part of it, not separate from it. Do I want one right there? Let's see. Let's see how the shadow is going to take place. Again, y'all doing all right tonight? You know, those of you that are able to hang out with me on a Friday night, I am honored that y'all are able to take your Friday night and spend it with me. We want this to not only just show shading, but also to help form our vessel, give it shape, give it dimension, give it weight. And see, yeah, this is coming out the way I wanted it to, especially with the shading, so that these flaps or rudders, rather, in this case, stand out against the hull of the main ship. Let's put a little angle on that. That's his counterpart on this side. kind of put a little something there so you can kind of see that. It's something that makes it stand out. All right, how we doing? How we doing? Y'all doing all right? What you think? What you think? What you think? All right. We'll put a, I like to put these on the end of at least the long ones. Now, this is where I like to put what I call the bric-a-brac. This is where you have some of the wiring, just showing cables and stuff just kind of hanging down. This is where it makes it look like something that's in use. Wiring and stuff and extra antenna, and you're wondering, what does that do? What does that do? What does that do? Figure that it does something. So it makes it look functional. All right, we're going to put some tone here and some here as well. But I still don't want it to be as dark as the hull behind it, because that's going to allow it to stand out, stand apart. I want to add some shading here. I've been experimenting with having these lines go in, at least in these panels, in different directions to kind of even add to the fact that this is metal and this is built. And so almost like a patchwork kind of thing. You see what I'm saying? And as I stand back a little bit, I can see where some overall shading can come in right through here and bring it all the way down here. Hope I'm not blocking that too much for y'all. Put some shadow for that. And put a little bit more around it just to give it some distance. A little bit darker than the rest. You know what I'm going to put as my last piece on this? I got to have some people, even if it's one people. But that's what this adds to it as well, is when you have some people up here chilling out. And I like to do it where they look like they're just like, you can't really see it too much, but they're the average Joe. Not standing heroically, but almost, kind of almost like a slouch to them, and a ball cap. Good old American ball cap. And you can see with the size of this thing that, and the guy up there, that this little boat seems kind of small. Let's put his colleague right over here with him. And they're talking about, man, I need to get this weekend off. But they are giving me a runaround. Now, we'll just add a little bit of rust from seawater. Just a little bit, not too much, just a little bit. All right, and I'm gonna call this one done. I need some nomenclature. I need some kind of numbering, or let's see. What's a name that we can put on this tonight? I did this before, so I'm going to give this as an homage to my cousins, the Lassiters, and my dear uncles, my cousin's dad. Is some of my favorite uncles, whose last name's Lassiter. And I did a boat for them before, Lassiter. All right. All right. We'll just sign off on that. So while I'm doing that, let me introduce you to some of my best tools that I use here. So as you can see, I've got my glove here that I use especially to help so I won't smudge the drawing, especially when I'm using a pencil. I love this. I love using this. I wish I had these years ago. I actually started making them out of gloves that I would cut the fingers out of. Then I started seeing that they were selling them, especially they sell them for folks that are using iPads and things like that. But they work for this case as well, very well. I always use my handy dandy good old number 2B pencil and a knead eraser. And you knead it like dough. You can make it into any kind of shape. As you can see, it's just like some clay. But the cool thing about it is that you're able to make it shape it the way that you want to erase as finely as you need to or not. All right, so that's going to be one drawing. I think we've got time for, yes, got time for one more. And this is the sketch that I did earlier this week that y'all saw, and this is the one we did tonight. And we're going to move along. Let's just flip that over. What do you say? Flip it over. And let's do a headshot. Let's do somebody's face. So, I'll show you something in a minute here. I always, or especially here lately, have been trying to put some form of emotion in the faces that I've been drawing. Because I feel that that's what helps to bring you in as a viewer. Because you, again, it's that whole seeing that familiar to the fantastic, kind of to a certain degree with this. And the familiar part is the facial expression, where you may have seen a facial expression like that before, and so that familiar thing helps pull you in. So as you know, the usual thing, those of you that draw or not, the usual thing that you do with these faces, you draw your egg first, and then right about halfway through there is the line for where your eyes rest. Halfway through this is the line where usually the nose rests. Halfway through there is your landmark for the mouth. Now, these don't have to be written in stone, but they're guidelines. What also helps me with these is this guy that helps me kind of see how things should be fitting or falling into place. Using the anatomical, utilizing the human anatomy. Now, this is really important, especially for comic and anime artists, even though the finished work that you probably like doing is stylized, where it's cartoony, animated, exaggerated kind of look. The goal is to learn human anatomy, become familiar with human anatomy as much as you possibly can. And that's when, from that point, that's when you're able to do an even better job of exaggerating what you see. So I'm going to start putting some feeling and emotion into this young man or young person's face. I always like to try to hear back from y'all. So you're a quiet bunch tonight, but let me just throw the question out there since I'm at a good spot right now. Do you want this drawing to be of a guy or a gal? A male or a female? Right now, I'm in this safe space where I'm putting some of the basics down, so it can go either way. But I want to hear from you. You tell me if you want it to be a guy or a girl. And I hope I can see your comments there. I see a few of them. It's hard to read them. But let me know what you guys think. See some folks that are watching. Post a comment and let me know if you want it to be a guy or a girl. And again, since my internet is down, I can't see it on my desktop. So I'm trying to look through the phone as I'm filming at the same time. But you let me know what your preference is for this drawing tonight. Guy or girl? All right, now, let's kind of match some things off of, whoa, I forgot about that part with the jaw. Came right on through there. All right. There, caught me off guard. All right, we'll go ahead and get that tweaked. And in the meantime, you guys, again, let's see if anybody commented. You want it to be a guy or a girl? All right, matching some things up. Green beans. For our ear, it typically lies between the mouth line and the eye line, and about halfway through here. Let's go ahead and plant our nose line, I'm sorry. All right, shaping that ear. Got a line like that, and another line in there. All right, let's see if I can see what those comments say. I'm putting this here because it helps me kind of try to read. I see folks that are watching. Post a comment. I'm trying to see your comments. Post a comment and let me know if you want it to be a guy or a girl. I'm running out of time because I'm going to have to make a decision very soon. Let's clean it up a little bit. Buy you some time. And I apologize if you have already posted a comment. It's hard, it's tricky me trying to see through this little camera here that I have set up. So either way, I want to make it look cool for you. So, let's see. Okay. Hey, John. And Lee. And Tony Herndon. Hey, guys. So glad that y'all are here. So one thing I do want to kind of switch up with this face is that no real expression. Not really going anywhere. No real expression. So I'm going to switch that up. Let's see, what can we do to have our character have a little bit of expression here? All right, starting with that eyebrow. That eyebrow sets it off. Let's see, what can we do with the mouth to have it with some expression? I like the fact that the mouth is closed in this one. So we may do something with pouting the lips. What do you think? Maybe pouting those lips a little bit more. Okay. That might get us somewhere. All right. Make that little mouth. All right, and with the eyebrow, that, like I said, that eyebrow, I think that set it off. So that eye kind of looking this way, well, too, side-eyeing. Do we have somebody else that just joined us or post a comment? I'm doing this, helps me see a little bit from that phone. All right. Guys and gals, I think we're going to let this be one of our lady friends. What do you think? All right. Let's keep on going. All right, now let's start. When you start adding that hair, that actually helps define the gender with the look. So we are going to make it a lady. She's got a boyish cut. Well, you know what? I want to do something different. Instead of the cut, I'm going to style that hair. I'm going to style it with a 1940s kind of look. You know I'm the diesel punk artist, so I got to go with that diesel punk style. All right. So that allows us to, with our handy dandy knead eraser, start getting rid of some of that groundwork in the head, because we have decided upon a hairstyle. That eyebrow is kind of keeping that emotion there. See that pouty lip? Especially now that we have determined that this is not only a female, but a female from the 40s. That's where we know for sure that we can make that lipstick a kind of dark, definitive red, allowing us to let the emotion stand out that much more. They wore that beautiful dark red lipstick, or at least it looked like it in those black and white films and photos. There we go. Oop, made that eyebrow too heavy. Let's get that knead eraser and lighten it up. Cool thing about the knead eraser, it can just I make it thin enough just to do no more and no less of what I want it to do and where I want it to go. And then we'll come back and just make that very fine pencil line. All right. Let's give her a nice pearl earring there. What y'all say? We're gonna take some of these lines out to soften the face a little bit. You don't want it to be too harsh. Time to sharpen that pencil. All right. All right, we're gonna start landing this plane in a little bit. Hey gang, don't think I'm ignoring you. Typically, if I didn't have the storm that came through like we had this evening, I would be doing this, especially if I was doing it live on Facebook, I would be doing this also looking at my desktop, which allows me to especially see any comments, questions that you have. But unfortunately, tonight, we're just going by the phone only because we do not have Wi-Fi, but we got use of the phone, but it makes it very hard to see your comments. So I said all that to say that don't think I'm ignoring you. I'm really glad that you're here. Really would like to chat and talk with you. But I can't really see like I want to, at least while we're live. But feel free still, say hello, show me some love. We'll definitely follow through and respond on the replay. This is just getting a little shade, tone, and values. Let's see where we're going. All right, y'all. So I think this is a decent concept art sketch. All right, we're going to call it right there because this is a rough. But hey, gang, I am so thankful for y'all just hanging out with me tonight on a Friday night. You could be a million other places, but you stop by to hang out with me, and I really appreciate that. A couple things I got going on. I've got a couple of big announcements that I am going to make maybe over the weekend, definitely going into next week, but there's some cool stuff that's going on, and I am going to give the official announcement on those in a couple days here. I think I'll leave it at that. Let's give her some eyelashes. That's what she's missing over here in these eyes. Eyelashes. Is she mad or something? I don't know what it is. She hot. She don't appreciate that thing, whatever it is. All right, let's go ahead and sign off on it. All right, gang, and thank you so much for hanging out with me for our live sketch party tonight. We are going to do some more of these. Definitely go to my website, TonySnipesArt.com. You check out, especially not only the prints that are there, but the big sellers have been the art books. So definitely check out the art books there. They're good coffee table books, and they especially make great gifts because Father's Day is right around the corner. And I'm sure that you can find either one or two of my art books. You can have the framed or canvas artwork itself. And those of you that have dads that like those model kits, you can go ahead and get those model kits as well, too. Because if it'll be your first time there, you can see that you can get a 20% discount as well, too. So go to TonySnipesArt.com. Thanks a lot, y'all. Y'all have a fantastic weekend. And if you're joining for the replay, post your comments and all that here as well. And I will definitely chat right back at you. And we will be talking to you soon. Have a great weekend.